Welcome, welcome, welcome to egelloC's training session. I am Coach Art, and I just want to thank you for joining me. I am so excited. Thank you so much for always attending these sessions. I get so very excited just because I'm so passionate about a lot of the things that we talk about, especially college admissions, of course. And so when I see a number of people, we're almost at 80 people on the training, I get super, super excited. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so if you can do me a favor, when you see my screen, please go ahead and let me know by giving me a heart, okay? If you could provide me with a heart, that would be great because then at least I know and I can see that there they are. Yes. If you don't know already, if you are a returning person watching my videos, thank you so much for returning. I always appreciate it. If you are one that is brand new, welcome. Welcome to the family. Welcome to egelloC. We are always excited to have you with us. I always say the reactions coach. So if any time that I say something that you really enjoy or that was very useful, give me a red heart. That's why I checked on that so that I know and I have indicators that will show me about what is important to you and what has, piqued your interest. Okay. So today, I want to again welcome everybody. I'm excited to talk about a topic that many students sometimes overlook when they're choosing UC campuses, and that's the impact of the location. So we focus on the rankings, the prestige about the campus locations, but whether it's in Northern or Southern California, it can really, shape the type of maybe internships or industries that you connect with, even the first jobs after graduation. So today we're going to break down campus by campus and then give you just a little bit of insights about each of the campuses as well. Okay. So just to introduce myself, I'm a proud dad of three. They call me sometimes the parent liaison and the student whisperer. I am the head of a head strategist, but also head of coaching and the chief product officer for egelloC. I have been in the industry for over 30 years with technology prior to, but I have been in the college admission space almost 9 years. But my biggest claim to fame is my three boys. I always say this. My oldest graduated from UC Berkeley with a mechanical engineering degree. My middle son is going into nursing at University of Illinois, and my youngest is at Biola University. He is playing college soccer as well as going for his physical therapy degree. But I have been in sports and life coaching for over 20 years, and I've helped a number of students get into very prestigious schools all across the country. So welcome you to this session. Okay. What we're going to be reviewing today is a quick overview of the UC system, a campus by campus look at the Northern Cal UCs and then the Southern Cal UCs. Going to talk a little bit about lifestyle and cultural differences between the regions, how the locations impact career objectives. Going to do some case studies, a couple of them, about the differences when we illustrate them between going to this one school and the other, some key takeaways, and then finish it off with some Q&A. Okay. So hopefully by the end of this, you'll feel confident, not just about which UC fits you academically, but also which region basically aligns with your career goals. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. If you guys can do me a favor, and again, give me some thumbs up. I'd like to see if the thumbs up are working again. Yes, I love it. Okay. And like I said, if you see any information that you really love, give me a heart. Okay. So first of all, let's tackle the Northern California campuses. Okay. And so let's talk about UC Berkeley. Now, UC Berkeley, of course, is the flagship UC for many reasons. Okay. It's one of the top schools globally for computer science, for engineering, for business and law. But, beyond the rankings, The location of Berkeley really matters because Berkeley sits across the bay from Silicon Valley. Okay. This really gives students access to tech giants like Google, Meta, and Tesla. And there are hundreds of startups there. So students often intern during the school year because the companies are so very close to one another. And Berkeley also connects very strongly to public policy and activism. Okay, that's huge there. And so, with many students, they're involved in research and advocacy through think tanks and government agencies nearby. So you can see here, based on the strengths, again, as I mentioned, close to Silicon Valley, venture capitalism, consulting firms. You have the Lawrence Berkeley Lab. You also have a top STEM and humanities program from a research perspective. And it's quite intense. I will say that. I'm not going to lie. It is very intense academically. There's a lot of driven individuals at that attend Berkeley, and have definitely a lot of activism, and that does have global prestige. Now, if we move to the next is UC Davis. If you don't already know, UC Davis was actually started, and then a shoot off, actually a satellite started in Berkeley, and then Berkeley, and so Berkeley is actually an offshoot of UC Davis. Okay, and so Berkeley grew from there. So it's funny how UC Davis is older than Berkeley, but Berkeley is the one that's a little bit more prominent. But regardless, UC Davis is a very unique school as the UC because it's mostly deeply connected to agriculture, veterinary medicine, health sciences, and the proximity of it to the UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento really gives biology pre-med students a very strong clinical and research opportunities. Okay, so it's a leader in sustainability, environmental science, but it has this suburban and collaborative feel. Okay, it's less intense than Berkeley, but it is still very, very, very rigorous. So many students describe Davis basically as a true college town, okay, with very strong community and school spirit. So you can see here, as I mentioned, the strengths are agriculture, environmental science, pre-med and veterinary medicine. You have the UC Davis Medical Center. You have a lot of biotech companies as well as food science opportunities. The main research part of it is life sciences and a big focus on sustainability. And as I mentioned, a suburban and collaborative spirited culture on the campus. So, a really great school. I've visited it a number of times. We've had egelloC events there, and it's a great community based and a traditional type of campus. Now, let's go with UC Santa Cruz. I got to tell you, UC Santa Cruz definitely offers something different, okay? It combines a very laid back coastal setting, with some academic strengths in marine biology, astronomy, and even gaming and the arts, okay? So a lot of students often work with NASA aims, the Monterey Bay Aquarium, even Silicon Valley companies, and the culture there, it is very progressive, very, I would say, artsy. Okay, it is definitely less competitive, and it's more collaborative. If you haven't seen my videos before about the UCs, and we just did one with Coach Dali about how competitive is and what they what they look for in a sense of students. They're much more collaborative. They look at the trending of how students are, especially those who may not have done well in their first couple years of high school and have done well in the last couple years of high school. So, with Santa Cruz, students who want to have access to Silicon Valley, but a smaller and a much more relaxed campus, then Santa Cruz is a big fit. Okay. What I will love about Santa Cruz is such a beautiful campus. It's literally set in a forest. And it's hard to describe this, but there's trees running through the building. So you can see the strengths there are marine biology, astronomy, gaming and arts. As I mentioned, the industry access. You have a lot of research with respect to astronomy and ocean sciences. So those who are really into the marine sciences, this is a really good opportunity. Quite progressive, very outdoorsy and artsy. And you can see by the picture there how beautiful it is, set in a lot of nature type of environments. Okay. Yes, I got my first heart. Yay. And go, I believe banana slugs is what their mascot. Now, UC Merced. Now, I will tell you, UC Merced is the newest of the campuses, okay, UC campus. So it doesn't have such a huge history. It's located in the Central Valley. So while it doesn't necessarily have that global recognition of Berkeley or let's say UCLA, it really does offer students something unique, which is smaller classes and close mentorship from professors and the chance to help shape a growing institution. Okay, so that's really, really important. And Merced is definitely expanding rapidly in the engineering field, the environmental science, and sustainability research. Okay, it's also one of the most diverse UCs with a very, very strong community for first gen students. So if you are a first gen student, Merced is definitely a way to go. What I love about it is too is they have a direct to medical school program now. It's only offered for those who are in the Antelope Valley or Central Valley. But again, that is definitely going to pique interest from a lot of students, and will definitely allow it to grow and get bigger. But it's it's a great campus. And again, even though it's new, it's still a UC and it follows the UC curriculum, very strict curriculum, as well as it has a great opportunity for you to be in smaller class types of institutions. You can see there it is definitely growing STEM and social science funding, very tight knit and pioneering. Okay. All right. So we just went through all of the Northern Cal campuses. So is there anybody out there, if you can give me a thumbs up, if anyone out there likes the Northern Cal campuses, if you can give me a thumbs up, I want to just see. Oh, I got some hearts and some thumbs ups. Okay, so I see a lot of people, probably those are the Northern Cal representatives. Okay. Again, I wasn't a big proponent of the Northern Cals until my son went to Berkeley, and then I was like, I fell in love with it. So, kudos to all of those who are proponents or big fans of the Northern Cal UCs. Now, let's go down to the Southern Cal. Okay, let's go down to the Southern Cal campuses. First of all, UCLA. Okay, so of course UCLA is in the heart of Los Angeles, making it the one of the best UCs for students interested in entertainment, media, business, or healthcare. Okay, so students they typically intern at the Hollywood studios that are there, major hospitals like Cedars-Sinai and Fortune 500 companies. Um, the campus, of course, is a beautiful campus. It is very urban, energetic, quite competitive, of course. Everybody knows this, with students involved in everything from Division One athletics to film production. So UCLA also has one of the strongest alumni networks in the UC system. Okay, so you can see there that with UCLA, film and TV media, big thing as well. But again, life sciences, access to Hollywood, LA corporate hubs, definitely medical and public research, and it has that urban feel because it's again in Los Angeles. It's quite competitive, a very vibrant campus life, beautiful campus. Frankly, I think all of the UCs have beautiful campuses. They've done a great job of just making it, very university campus-like, right? So again, UCLA, everybody knows about UCLA. Don't need to keep on going on with UCLA. Okay, so next thing, UC San Diego, near and dear to my heart because again, I'm in San Diego, but also I've had a lot of exposure with San Diego. I know San Diego. I've actually did. I wasn't part of the staff there, but I did teach some corporate training there. So UC San Diego, it is a STEM powerhouse. Okay, if you know San Diego, it is big on biotech. Okay, so particularly UC San Diego, particularly in biology, biotech, and engineering. The location in San Diego really allows students to connect to the biotech, what we call biotech corridor, and the Scripps Institution of Oceanography as well. So you have the biotech corridor, you have the Scripps Institution that allows you to do for oceanography, and then also it consistently ranks among the top for NIH research. Okay, um, funding. Okay, so the culture there is collaborative. It is much more low key compared to UCLA because again, you know, San Diego could be considered a sleepy town, but it's still an amazing city. And it has this very beach town feel. So many students end up working in the biotech area or the medical research careers within UC San Diego because of such an amazing medical environment. Okay. The research is very STEM heavy, and again, collaborative and STEM focused. So if you are looking particularly for STEM, then UC San Diego is the way to go. Now, UC Irvine. Okay, the anteaters, right? So UC Irvine, it sits literally in the middle of Orange County. It's in the middle of a suburb. If you go there, you'll see houses of neighborhoods, and then all of a sudden you see UC Irvine, right? So it sits in Orange County, giving it access to both tech companies and biomedical research centers. It is especially strong in business, computer science, and gaming. They have a lot of connections to companies like Blizzard Entertainment. I'm sure if some of the students out there know about Blizzard, they have amazing um, games, right? So the culture is suburban. It's much, much calmer compared to Los Angeles, but students still enjoy, very strong industry ties. So Irvine also has a very diverse student population, and it is known for being very, very welcome and supportive, very diverse. One of the cool things I know I've seen there is they even have an esports program, an esports scholarship, one of the amazing esports facilities. And I just say this because it's just so modern, right? A lot of students, and you can see how it looks there, they really love the technology centered based looking campus as well as how technology forward they are. Okay, so you can see here again, suburban, biomedical, social sciences, really great ties to medical as well. So it's just risen in prominence even with the nursing program and the medical program there. Okay. One of our actual coaches, part-time coaches, Coach Leanne, is attending there, and she graduated there with and is planning to be a doctor. But I'm telling you, UC Irvine's a great school, and has really risen in prominence. Okay, now UC Riverside. So UC Riverside, beautiful campus. Okay, UC Riverside is often described as the most diverse UC campus out there. It's very strong in STEM, public policy, education, and agricultural science. Okay. So students really benefit from the research in air pollution and sustainability, which is funded by federal grants. So Riverside is definitely growing in prestige, and it offers smaller class sizes and a very close-knit feel. So for students looking for access plus affordability, UCR is definitely a solid option just because of the smaller feel, and its emergence in the STEM field has been really, really great. It's becoming one of the very, very strong UCs in the STEM area. Okay. And you get access to a lot of the Inland Empire industries, especially as well as the federal research grants. So it makes it a great school. And again, all the UCs are great. Riverside is really growing in prominence. Now, let's talk about UC Santa Barbara. So I think you can see there, it's funny because UC Santa Barbara, you can see it's very famous for its beachfront location. If I'm kind of pointing right here, this is one of the actual dorms. Okay. And so the dorm is facing the beach. Okay. So if you are a beach goer or beach enthusiast, UC Santa Barbara is definitely the way to go. But it's also, and I'm going to tell you, even though it may have this beachfront facade, it's one of the top research universities, especially in physics, environmental science, and engineering. So it's odd because you look at this in such an amazing and beautiful campus, but it's very strong in physics, environmental science, and engineering. So it has really grown in prominence. It has produced multiple Nobel Prize winners. Okay. And the culture, it really combines an entrepreneurial energy with a very vibrant student life. So students often get involved in startups, aerospace, okay, environmental research, while they enjoy, one of the most scenic campuses in the country, okay, from a university perspective. And you can definitely see that here in the picture. It's a beautiful campus and is really very, very strong in the STEM sciences, okay, particularly physics, environmental science, and engineering. So, um, so that it rounds out our Southern California UC. So, can I see, is there any fans of the Southern California UCs? If you can just give me a thumbs up, love to see if there's any. Ah, wow, I see a lot of hearts there. Okay, so more hearts. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people love the Southern California, or maybe we have some alumni there. Okay, that which is great. Okay. So now, now there is actually someone was asking the question, UC San Francisco. So UC San Francisco is part of the UC system, but remember, it is only a graduate school. It is not it is not, you don't get your bachelor's from it, okay? So that's the reason why it's not listed here because it is not, it is just at the graduate level for UC San Francisco. All right. Now, lifestyle and culture, okay? Lifestyle and culture. So the Northern California campuses, okay, which is Davis, Berkeley, San Francisco, Merced, and Santa Cruz. Um, they often lean more suburban, intellectual, more activism oriented type of campuses. Okay. The students at Berkeley, Davis, and Santa Cruz, they definitely talk about community, causes, and research. Okay. Now, if you take a look at the contrast of that for Southern California campuses like UCLA, UC San Diego, and UC Santa Barbara, they really connect more directly to, let's say, industry pipelines and offer a lot of fast-paced lifestyle. Okay. Now, the cost of living is generally higher in Los Angeles than in San Diego compared to Davis or Merced, which again, are less. But if you're talking about high cost, Berkeley is quite expensive as well. So, transportation really differs as well because in Northern Cal, you often have, like, say, the BART or you're biking, while within Southern California, the students sort of need a car to get around, okay? Versus, so really there's public transportation in the north, not so much in the south, okay? There are definitely weather differences as well, okay? So of course, Northern Cal and Berkeley, it does get cold. It definitely gets cold. You gotta wear, jackets in the wintertime. Whereas in Southern California, it does get cold, but it doesn't get as cold in the winter. In the winter, need a light jacket, but you still is not as cold as Northern California. Okay. So you can see here that there's definitely a difference with respect to the type of lifestyle and the type of culture that you see between the two types of regions. Okay, now let's talk about briefly long-term career outcomes. So if we talk about Northern Cal versus Southern Cal, so most UC graduates in general stay in California at least for their first job. Now, Northern California graduates typically feed into either technology companies, policy, and research jobs. Okay. while Southern California, they go towards more the entertainment field, the healthcare, the biotech field. Okay, so that's just how you know when you're looking at Northern Cal versus Southern Cal. Now, the alumni networks are very, very strong regionally. You know, when you're looking at your first internships and jobs, that often comes from where you study. So that's the reason why location is as important as rankings. I know personally that my son, my oldest son, when he went to UC Berkeley, he got a number of internships, and a lot of that was due to him attending Berkeley, and the network, the alumni network for UC Berkeley specifically is incredible and amazing, just because they really do take care of their own. And that's typical of a lot of the UCs, that they have very, very strong alumni networks, which that's what I love about the University of California system. A lot of the, you know, many of the graduates are very proud not only of graduating from those schools, but also being able to help others and show them the ropes. And I can't tell you from a parent perspective how incredible it was to just to network with even fellow parents of students that attend UCs, because they're just so very helpful, because they're so very proud of them being at the UC, but secondarily is just to help out. So that's what I've seen with all of the UCs, especially for my own personal experience, Berkeley. So if we take a look at some case studies, okay, and these are just very simple case studies, but something that we can, you know, talk about here. So first of all, North versus South. Okay, so you know, if you have a student, let's say that is at Berkeley Computer Science, okay, Berkeley Computer Science, one of the big firms that are out there that definitely recruit is Google. Okay, and so Google has their internships, and typically the route that happens there that will lead to a tech career. But you can see here is that when you go to the southern part, which is more mainly emphasizing, let's say, entertainment media, like let's say UCLA film, which is amazing. You know, they would get, let's say, a Warner Brothers internship, which leads to an entertainment career. So you see the definite the differences here is the internships. It really does depend upon, let's say, the location. Berkeley in the northern is really Silicon Valley. UCLA, again, more of the entertainment, but still also medical as well. Now, if we talk about, let's say, Davis, so if a student pursues Davis biology, well, because they're so close to the UC Davis Medical Center, that leads right into medical school, okay? Versus if you were talking about San Diego, which is, let's say, UC San Diego Bio, well, because of the location, right? They most likely will go lean towards more biotech internships, which leads to a more research-oriented career. Okay. So if you see same major but different outcomes because of the geography, right? Same thing with the one here where it's the same, pretty much kind of the same majors. Okay, same major here, but different outcomes because of the geography. Okay, so it really does depend upon, you know, what your student is interested in, what they want to get into, which will you know, highly influence their decision on whether, you know, on their future careers, the environment, and as well as on opportunities on the campus. So, what do we see as takeaways from this? Okay, what can we deduce from this? So, the UC name is very prestigious everywhere. Okay, we know that. But the campus regions determines really students' daily opportunities. You got to think beyond the ratings, right? You got to consider the industries that are within those areas around the campus. You want to consider the lifestyle that the students want, whether that is a more relaxed lifestyle versus a more competitive and intense, versus a more, let's say, artsy, outdoorsy. All depends, right? And also from a long-term goal perspective, they have to also consider where do they want to be with their aspirations from a career, and that all depends. That will help within respect to the type of geography and the location they're looking for. So, fit plus future plans should really guide the choice if your student is selecting one of the UCs, okay? And so um, they are different in many ways. But one thing that really solidifies them is that they're incredible academic institutions, right? Um, with great reputations. So you really can't go wrong with the UCs if you choose any of the UCs. But picking the right type of UC that fits what you're looking for from a career aspirations, from a lifestyle, from um, a campus feel, as well as what they offer is going to be very, very important. Okay. So you want to make sure that your UC ties into the region's industry. You talk about culture, industry, and career outcomes. And again, it really does. The location drives opportunities as much as the rankings. So don't just key on the rankings. Make sure that you also look at what opportunities are available there. So with that said, I hope can I wonder, was that helpful? Can I get some hearts there if it was? I would really, really appreciate. Oh, okay. Whew. Good. I'm glad. So I know this one was a little bit more of a brief training, but again, it really does depend upon the type of region or location that you're looking for. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Before we start the questions, if you are brand new here and you thought that this information was helpful, and you may be able to need help with your particular child, we want to provide you with a free 15-minute assessment for with one of our college admissions advisors. So if you type in book BOOK and to 949-775-0865, then we will go ahead and send you a message so that you can book an assessment call. If you feel as though you need some help from a financial aid standpoint, we would love you to speak to Coach David, who was our financial aid guru. Even if you think your family makes too much money, we can definitely help. This is the QR code for that. So I can't believe this. We have over 100 individuals listening in on this training, so thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. I really love these trainings, and I get to know people as well. So with that said, if you have any questions, please list them out on in the chat. I saw a couple of things. Let's see here. A couple of things. Let me take a look here. Is there any questions out here? I see San Diego's in the house. We talked about UC San Francisco. Oh, can you show the Berkeley slide again? Sure. Let me show the Berkeley slide. Oh, okay. Hold on. Before I do that, here we go. So the Berkeley slide, so BOOK to 949-775-0865. Again, 949-775-0865 for the book. Okay. I hear that the QR code is not working. Okay. Let's see. So let me go ahead and find out what's going on there. But here is the Berkeley slide. Okay, there you go. Here's the Berkeley slide. Will the recording be able to watch? Yes, absolutely. We post all of our recordings to YouTube. So all you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, and it typically takes us about a week to get it all organized. So you can look at that. And then what are the rates for California? Ooh, okay. Very, very good question. What I love about the rates for California schools is this. Um, there is a huge, huge, huge emphasis for UCs, okay, to for UCs to be able to um, except California students. It's very, very huge. And the reason why is because there was an edict, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, in which a lot of parents were kind of uprising because there were more students coming from out of state that were being accepted to UC. So that was a big thing. Okay. Um, so what happened was is this influenced the the UCs to participate and to raise their in-state acceptance rates. Okay, so basically, for last year, the in-state acceptance rate, gosh, it rose. It was almost over 70%. Okay, so that is huge. All right. And that's amazing because again, there was also an initiative by by Governor Newsom that added extra funds so that students from California could get accepted or raise the acceptances for California students in the top three, which is Berkeley, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Okay, so that's it's huge. Uh, Overall, of course, the top schools in the camp for each campus, let's say UC Berkeley, it's about 13%. Um, UCLA is about 9.6% versus, overall acceptance rates. Berkeley is 11, in-state 13, UCLA 9, 9.4, in-state 9.6, UC San Diego 28%, but then in-state a little bit lower than that. But again, consistently, there's a lot more California students going into the UCs, and that's very typical. That's very typical. Just because what happens here is that a lot of states are very, very loyal to the students in their state. Okay. Let's see. What strategies? I mean, gosh. Okay, so so here we go. Let me just keep saying. Which UC would you say is good for psychology? Well, there's actually not a number of them. Okay. Um, there I would say is that San Diego is huge because of the neuroscience aspect, um, as well, and of course you have UCLA just because of the medical center as well. UC Berkeley, from a research perspective, is huge because they're strong in cognitive neuroscience, development psychology. That's a big thing as well. Again, I mentioned San Diego. Um, Rising in prominence is probably Davis and Irvine because Davis is just a well-respected program in strong in STEM, particularly in development psychology, and then UC Irvine just because of their strength in the medical field as well. More toward and a lot of research projects that are coming out specifically in psychology as well. Okay, let's see here. What strategies would you use when selecting a major in the application for HUC? Do I select the major I want, even if it's the most competitive in the UC, or should I go for a less popular one to get into my dreams UC, then try? Okay. Okay. So this is kind of a loaded question, but I will try to answer it. So the question is I mean, this is the question that always comes up. If I want to make it to a UC, do I try to just go for the major that, even if it's most competitive, or should I go for a less popular one to try to make it to your dream UC and then try to change the major once you're in? Okay. So here is my take on it. All right. First of all, it depends upon the major. If you're choosing a major that is highly impacted, typically engineering, computer science, STEM-based business, okay, those are majors that are what we call highly impacted. They're just harder to get into because there's more students that are going for it and less spots that are available, okay? And you got to remember is that because they're highly impacted going in, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden if you make it in that the sky's gonna, the seas are gonna part and you're gonna be able to easily transfer. Because if it's highly impacted going in, it's going to be highly impacted once you're in. So what I mean by that is that if you think that you could go into a lesser major, let's say you want to go into engineering, but you're going to go in as history major, okay? Again, nothing wrong with being a history major, but it's not as impacted. The situation here is that it's going to be highly difficult for you to transfer in because it's still impacted, okay? They have to have available spots for you to go in. Now, there's also um, other specific majors or divisions that cap majors, mean that they don't allow direct um, uh, or sorry, transferring into the major. So, for example, like engineering, computer science, can't do that at Berkeley. You can't do that at UCLA. Okay, so that's where you really want to make sure is that you got to be very cognizant with the type of major that you're trying to get into. So we always say is try for a major that is closely related to what you're looking for. Okay, maybe an alternate major that you're looking for. Now, a lot of the schools, or all of them except for UCLA, allow you to enter in a primary major and then a secondary major. I'm gonna tell you, even if you choose a secondary major, for the UCs themselves, they normally don't get to the secondary major because the schools are just so very, 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 very popular now. The only one that I would say you probably have a chance would be is UC Merced. Even before UC Riverside was one that could help out, but now it's UC Merced that is the last kind of bastion of schools that really have an opportunity where you could make it in, have a good chance of making it, but also, or if you can't make it in that, go into your secondary major. Okay. Um, Gosh. Okay. Another question is which UCs, which ones have safer, which UCs, okay, um, which UCs have a safer neighborhood? Okay, well, okay, I will tell you, give you my experience. So first of all, Berkeley, I'm gonna tell you is there is a lot of it is challenged safety wise just because you're next to an urban city. Typically, the UCs that are kind of ranked, I would say, is from the most safe to the less safe. So highly safe because it's in a suburban area would be UC Irvine. Okay. Then also UC San Diego, just because it's right in the heart, and I know this because I live here, is in La Jolla, University City. So this is a quite affluent neighborhood, and it's known for, a lot of stability as well. Berkeley, whew, this is a mixed urban safety just because, again, it does have high combined violent and, property crime because it's, again, it's right next to a city. So there is higher risk zones when you go off campus. Okay, on campus but they have a lot of programs there. And again, I know for sure I was one of those parents that kind of check periodically for Berkeley and kind of trying to look for news. And my son would always react and say, "Dad, I'm not even close to that." So that's the thing. Um, UCLA, relatively safe, I would say, because it is in an affluent area of Westwood. And so, it's noted in one of the more safer places in Los Angeles. So I would say it's relatively safe. Um, Now, UC Davis, because UC Davis is listed among, the one that's it does have a higher overall campus crime rate, just because it's more, in a rural area. Okay. And so, but the most ones I think that are most safest is Irvine and in San Diego. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Do you think Berkeley and UCLA engineering are looking for the same attributes in their students? They seem to have similar engineering. So, okay. So the question is, do you think Berkeley and UCLA engineering are looking for the same attributes in their students? They seem to have similar engineering acceptance rates. Okay, so there is a concept called overlays. Okay. Now, overlays are guidelines that the various schools, all schools across the nation use that outline what are the things that the school is looking for particular students in particular majors and in colleges. Okay. And so when the question is, does Berkeley and UCLA look for what type of engineering? Yes, they definitely look for they have a bit of a difference just because they have different overlays. And I know this for a fact because, the Berkeley College of Engineering versus the, UCLA School of Engineering, they share somewhat differences. I'm somewhat the same, okay? They want, again, make sure that you are academically prepared, like you have a very strong academic and rigor coursework, right? That you have quantitative, let's say, problem solving skills, okay? That you may have some experiences with either engineering or tech engagement, that you show leadership, that you have diversity in your activities, okay? Not just it's all engineering, but you also contribute community service. And these are all the things that we dictate from egelloC, saying that you need activities that have commitment and leadership, and you need academics that have high grades and rigor. Okay, that makes sense. But when we're talking about the differences between Berkeley and UCLA, Berkeley is more research and innovation focused and driven. Okay, they have a culture of academic intensity. So they really thrive on putting a lot of pressure um, on the students academically. Um, and there is quite a selectivity by major. So it's very, very competitive with respect to computer science, electrical engineering, bioengineering, um, and majors like civil engineering or nuclear engineering may be less selective. Now, with respect to UCLA, they are more applied type of engineering, collaborative, more industry focused, just because they're so close to stronger towards, kind of the team-based engineering projects. They're more broad in their majors. And because of their proximity to a lot of the LA industries, there's more emphasis on innovation to connect, to LA Tech versus where there's more research based for UC Berkeley. Okay. Where can we learn more about the overlays for each of the UCs, meaning read more about their accepted student profiles? You can learn all about that on the UC of California sites. They have major, major data graphics and data reports about that. You can literally read about the type of students that they're looking for. If you go to each of the campus's sites, it basically tells them here's the type of student that we're looking for. It's all there. Because it is a public university, they have to share that information with everybody. It is not hidden. And this is not something that I'm kind of making up or anything. It's definitely, you can read all of this. I went ahead and read the lengthy, lengthy policies and information for each of the universities. I've read it several times, and it really definitely shows what type of students that they're looking for. So I would go on the University of California websites and take a look, and definitely you will be able to find your what do you call it? The information about the overlays. Okay. Now there was a question about our YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm also going to just make sure for those who are still on. Okay, again, if you want to talk to us, you can definitely do that by booking a 15-minute assessment at 949-775-0865. Again, that's 949 775-0865 to book, BOOK. If you are looking for in our YouTube channel, okay, in our YouTube channel, what you want to do is you want to go on to our YouTube channel and it's under egelloC. It's called College Admissions Counselors egelloC. And I will put that on the screen here right now. You'll be able to see this right here. You see myself. Oops, what happened there? You'll be able to see myself there. Okay, and you can see all of our different videos, training videos on there. Okay, you'll see a bunch of them. Our most popular videos. Here's ones about financial aid. Here's ones about academics, admissions. We're all there. We have over 300, I think actually more than that now, videos that you can look at for on YouTube. And you'll see there it's at youtube.com/at college admission secrets. Okay, so it's youtube.com/at college admission secrets, or you can look up egelloC at YouTube and you'll find all of our stuff here. All righty. So with that said, actually, oh boy, one more question here. Do all the UCs accept dual enrollment CC classes the same way, or is it school specific regarding what you can transfer? Good question. Okay. So they are quite consistent with accepting dual enrollment as long as they're within the A3G requirements. The best way to find that out is what you want to do is you go on to a site called assist.org. Okay, assist.org. If you go onto the site on assist.org, what happens here is, and I'll go on to that site right now, you will see the site and you can put in the community college that's here. So let's just say, so you put in the community college and then you go to egelloC for UCs and CSUs. Okay, so I'll just choose it. And then what happens here is when you do that, on the left side, it will show the classes, and you could, let's say, do it by egelloC area. You can go ahead and choose the classes, and all of these classes are accepted by the UCs. Okay, so these are all accepted, the UC classes that are accepted by the UCs by community colleges within California. Okay, all right. So, and I use this all the time. It really helps for your students to take a look at this because they separate it by the A through G requirements. So it's very, very cool. You can see all the classes with the name of the classes, the course number, the semester, and all that, and or so forth. So it's really helpful. Okay. So with that said, I want to thank you so much for joining me for my training here. And I will tell you this is that I'm so very honored and grateful that you joined because you can definitely go out and enjoy and have fun with your family, your friends, your hobbies or so, but you choose to be here with me. And so I'm just so grateful that you do that every Tuesday. I'm here every Tuesday, or my colleagues conducting training. So if you find this useful, go onto our YouTube channel, go ahead or if you want, go onto our YouTube channel, look at our previous trainings, or join me here every Tuesday. We will be talking more later. Okay, so have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will talk to you and see you next Tuesday. All right, bye bye. Have a good one. Take it easy.